All right, so as Jonathan Tays' final game is in the intermission, let's get done the final game or the final clinched video on a singular team before the wild card teams. The Colorado Avalanche have officially clinched a playoff spot. Avalanche fans, you waited all the way to the end. Thank you very much for that. And anyways, we'll get into this video. So the Avalanche, Stanley Cup champions for last year, faced a lot of hurdles in their second season, trying to regain the championship. And yeah, it's been quite a year for them. It's been a grind. I cannot believe they went from a team that was actually out of the playoffs to a team that could clinch first in their division tonight. It really depends. And at the time of recording, we do not know whether or not they will be first in the West. So we do not know just yet, but we will know eventually. Anyways, the Avalanche this season, when they clinched, they had played 79 games, 49, 24, and 6 for 104 points. They have scored 271 goals and have only let in 219, and they are 8th in the NHL. They have a 21, 13, and 5 record at home, and they are 28, 11, and 1 on the road. So obviously they are a very consistent team on both ends. And the biggest thing that was with Colorado this year was injuries. They dealt with a lot of injuries. They lost a lot of man games. I look at all of their players right now. I see one, I see two, I see three, I see four. Four players that are in their top leading scoring that have missed a significant amount of games. Some of them have missed over 20 games. If I go back to a video that we made about a month ago, I believe, asking if the Avalanche could go back to back, I'll put it right here. I said there was a lot of man games lost with all the injuries they faced in the Cup. And sometimes, really, and Tampa's shown this, and I've gone back to Tampa many times before when referencing Stanley Cup champions, but Tampa, in many different years, has had many different players be hurt. Like Zach Bogosian, he's been hurt the entire season. That's a crazy example. But anyways, Sergachev was hurt for the majority of the year. Kucherov was hurt after the 2020 Cup run. So you see these guys being heavily injured. It really takes a toll. And especially that, too, it was announced yesterday that Gabriel Landeskog will not play for the playoffs, which is unfortunate because there were those rumors, and he did travel with the team on their California road trip, I believe. So I was thinking, oh yeah, he's gonna be back, play a few games before playoffs. That's a good thing. Or maybe they'll just keep him until playoffs because I think that's what Vegas is doing with Mark Stone right now. But anyways, no, they're not gonna have him for playoffs, and that's definitely gonna hurt not having your captain. And we'll see how Colorado does with it. But they have been pretty consistent without him, anyways, and that's not to milk down or criticize. I don't know what milk down means, but criticize Gabriel Landeskog at all. But Colorado's done just fine without him, if we're being honest. Nathan MacKinnon, and they haven't been like the team that they were last year, but they're definitely still a good team. McKinnon this season, 68 games played, 39 goals, 68 assists for 107 points. He finally reached the 100-point plateau for the first time in his career. And the fact that he did that in 68 games played goes to show how good of a player Nathan MacKinnon really is. And I'm really excited to watch him play over the next couple of years and play in the playoffs too. I'm hoping to stream a lot of Avalanche related games this coming playoffs, and I'm definitely very excited for it. Next up in scoring is Mikko Rantanen, and we should not discredit Mikko Rantanen at all either. Rantanen this season, 79 games played, 54 goals, 48 assists for 102 points. He was playing really well at one point. I was kind of thinking, could he reach the 60 goal mark? Could we have three players reach the 60 goal mark? He did not, unfortunately. Or he's close, but he's probably not going to reach unless he has a 6-goal game. But yeah, Rantanen having another really good season, and there were points in this year, and he's been fully healthy the entire season. There have been points this year where Rantanen has carried this freaking team. And there were points in this year where if it weren't for Rantanen, the Avalanche, maybe they would. I think they still would have made the playoffs, but they probably would not be pushing for first in the division right now. And let me just say how remarkable it was that this team in January, I believe, was a wild card team or barely scraping into the wild card, and then they played unbelievable. Now they're chasing first in their division, which is crazy to me. And it just goes to show how deep and how good this team really is. And they really can go for a back-to-back championship. Even though I don't really want them to, I would like to see them go for another back-to-back, but I would like to see somebody else win it because I saw Tampa win it twice. I've seen Pittsburgh win it twice. I would prefer to see somebody else that isn't one of those two teams or a team that has not won just yet. Oilers, looking at you. Anyways, that's not a good team to bring up in this video. But anyways, next up, JT Comfer with 79 games played, 17 goals, 35 assists, 52 points. That's a huge gap there between first and second in scoring. But yeah, or second and third in scoring. But yeah, really solid player. Comfer's come up into the top six, had to play some big minutes. He's been a really solid player this season. Arturi Lehkonen recently just made his return back to the lineup. 62 games played, 20 goals, 29 assists for 49 points. Obviously, yet again, another really good player. Really good acquisition last year. He's likely going to be staying with this team for a long time to come. Valeri Nichushkin. And I said it multiple times during the live streams of last year's playoffs, during the series previews of last year's playoffs. Valeri Nichushkin played a gigantic role in the playoffs, and he missed a significant amount of games this season with injury. He only played 50 games this year so far with 17 goals, 30 assists for 47 points. I still think that's pretty impressive that you got 47 points in just 50 games played. It shows the underrated valueness of a guy like Valeri Nichushkin. And yeah, you can clearly tell how, I'm much better at talking about some teams when it comes to cup champs or teams that have gone far, because seeing just these teams go through the grind and this and that is unbelievable. And I cannot wait to see if the Avalanche can go do it again, even though I just said I don't want them to win it again. But hey, I can't control destiny. You look at their defense. Oh, sorry. Evan Rodriguez, little shout out to you. He came from the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's played solid at points when he's had to. Did not make the top 5 in scoring, but he definitely does deserve a shout out 100%. Anyways, now moving on to the defense, you got Cale Makar, 60 games played, 17 goals, 49 assists for 66 points. Again, really solid defenseman. Even though Erik Karlsson's having this huge 100-point year, he still could very well win the Norris. I'm not sure if they keep track of it playoffs wise, but I'm pretty sure Erik Karlsson's likely going to win the Norris, but Cale Makar still has that chance too. Just the weird thing is, I saw something today. Erik Karlsson's miles out of every other defender, so that's a whole other discussion. When we get into our 2023 reviews, we'll talk about San Jose. But anyways, Devon Tays up next, 77 games played, 6 goals, 41 assists for 47 points. Again, really solid defenseman holding up the defensive end. Very underrated when it comes to, looking at a team like the Avalanche, overshadowed by Makar. And this Avalanche defense overall is really enjoyable and really fun to watch. Then you got Samuel Girard, who was out for the majority of last year's playoffs, but not for this season. 73 games played, 6 goals, 30 assists for 36 points. So yet again, another pretty significantly solid defenseman there, and hopefully he will stay healthy for the entire playoff run, whether the Avalanche go far or not. As it goes for next up, your deadline acquisition, you only got Lars Eller this year, and Avalanche didn't go too deep into the deadline like they did last year, acquiring Arturi Lehkonen, obviously, and guys like Josh Manson, too. They only got Lars Eller this season with 21 games played, 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points. It may not be like a huge offensively scoring player, but when you look at a guy like Lars Eller, he has experience. He scored the cup-winning goal for the Capitals in 2018, and as well as that, too, he provides some good, bottom 6 depth, especially with some of these injuries that the Avalanche have. It's definitely going to help out with them, and, it's good to be deep. Good to have a deep team. They did get Jack Johnson, too, I just realized, but Johnson had no points in last year's playoffs, so yeah. Anyways, looking at the goaltending now, and the goaltending is relatively different. And I will say this about Colorado. The goaltending is different, and of course you can obviously tell by looking at it. But you got Alexander Georgiev, 59 games played, 38, 16, and 5, with a 2.54 goals against average and a .919 save percentage. You look at a guy like Alexander Georgiev, came from the Rangers, and you look at a guy like Darcy Kemper. There were a lot of those talks about, how, Colorado, they didn't need a really solid goalie to go all the way. Kemper, he wasn't a bad goalie by any means, but he wasn't a Vasilevsky-level goalie that we've seen Vasilevsky go back-to-back in Cup wins the past 2 years. It goes to show that you can maybe win solely through offense in the playoffs potentially, and maybe you don't need a goalie, or you just need a really good defense. Because, hey, there is that saying that defense wins championships. So, just saying. And then you got Pavel Francouz. I thought that Francouz was worthy of the starting role, but I was kind of wrong this year. 16 games played, 8.7-1, a 2.61 goals against average, and a .915 save percentage. Yeah, I'm going to say that Francouz is more suitable as a backup, even though I've been a big fan of Francouz for a very long time, it seems like. So yeah, that's your main roster and your main leading scorers for Colorado. You look at their injuries. As I mentioned, it's Gabriel Landeskog. It's tough to have a captain be out the entire season, but really, when it's Colorado, you kind of just have to deal with it at this point. It is what it is, and you really just have to, grind through it. And I really do feel like McKinnon is a good, really replaceable leader for a guy like Landeskog as well. Their playoff opponent. So if they get first in the division, they will probably likely play either the Winnipeg Jets. I think they probably would play the Seattle Kraken, I believe, actually, because I believe the Kraken are further ahead in Winnipeg in standings. So they likely would play the Kraken if they get first. If they get second and Dallas edges them out, they will play the Minnesota Wild, which could be a very fun series. Either way, as I said for the Wild clinching video we just did earlier this week, I would say that I would rather play Dallas if I'm Minnesota because Colorado has proven they can be a dangerous team even without some of their key players. So yeah, anyways, let me know your thoughts on Colorado Avalanche in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching. We will get into the wild card teams later today. That is the New York Islanders, the Florida Panthers, the Seattle Kraken, and the Winnipeg Jets. We'll do that all in one video. So yeah, thank you all for watching. For all Sports Late, and I will see you guys in the next video. Adios.